if you get a chance, go back and watch that tape, man. It's a really good game. Like Jameis and Kyler Murray were slinging it, and it was just a really good offensive matchup. If you want a good sneaky game that's not like two premier teams, go watch that.
Hmm. Well, all right then. You know what other game? The Packers Panther game was pretty good. Not to be like trying to homer or nothing, but that it was a good
Don't
game.
let Greg from C3 Panthers podcast hear you.
Oh Jesus. You guys have like literally you two are like super butthurt over each other.
No, I'm
You
not. I just want to
you've
prove a
gotten
point. It's
you
how to
guys
act.
got into each other's ass like so bad over the last couple days. And again, my rant at the beginning was kind of it wasn't to Greg, but it was based on Greg kind of trying to light this fire with you, and I'm just tired of it cuz then he got a bunch of fans on the thread saying spewing the same dumb shit. It's
Because they're all
just
Panthers homers.
it's not even about being Panthers, though. I thought I made it pretty clear. I was talking to Packer fans because I see plenty of them do the same shit. Yes, it was a bad call at the end of week 4 that ended the game. It was clear pass interference. But again, like, they had ample opportunity in that game to not let it go down to the refs. Okay, like that call being shouldn't matter if they would have played a better game. They played like horse shit that game. They got their faces punched in, and they didn't deserve to win. The fact that they were depending on a referee to make a call that they have proven that they're horse shit at making for any referee crew for any game on any Sunday is their own damn fault. Like, the refs didn't cost them the game. The Packers got their faces punched in. It didn't help that the refs made a terrible non-call, but that's not what cost them the game. Like, that's the problem. That's why I get pissed. Like, I can acknowledge both. And when you can't, that's where I start to get a disconnect of what the hell you're really trying to get across. Because, yes, you can acknowledge that a call did not help the fortune of your team. But calls are not the reasons any call. Not unless it's the exact final call. And this is why I laugh, because of all the fan bases out there that want to bitch about referees and blown calls or non-calls literally costing the game, none of them can point to a play like the Packers can from 2009, the wild card game that was lost 48-54 by the Packers. Carlos Dansby runs a strip sack fumble, but Mike Adams comes up and rips Adams' face mask down before he even knocks the ball out. I mean, it's like terrible, blatant face mask. No call. Dansby picks it up, runs the ball back in. Overtime's over. No replay because they hadn't made the automatic replay rule on turnovers yet. Game over. Season over. Packers go home. Like, and FYI, we got no apology. The league didn't come out and go, "Oh yeah, that was a bad call." They said nothing. And guess what? We were pissed, but there was no rule in 2010 based off of that. Sorry. It's ridiculous.
Well, my thing was, it wasn't even about the call, Jay. I just want to explain myself here. So we were watching the game. Obviously, the call happened, and next thing you know, Greg went and tweeted us out, tagged us, and and that's the thing. If you go read his tweet, it looks like he was blaming us for the call. We're like, dude, what is this? Why is this going on? And he was like, well, it's a horrible call. It's a golden boy call. It doesn't need to be called. It's going to affect the game. And it ended up being Green Bay getting 10 flags, Carolina 5. So with that, water on the bridge, cool. Then the next day he goes and tags us again in another post. It just doesn't stop. So that's when I got on his replies, going back and forth with him, letting him know how's it feel going after one another on Twitter. I'm like, this is what it's like, dude. Just we don't perform like that on Twitter or social media. We're professional. We don't do it. Then today, 5 days after the game, the NFL issues a statement to Gerald McCoy. He tags us in it. It's very unprofessional the way he was acting. That's how I felt. And needed to be said to him and to Tony for C3 Panthers podcast. I get it. They're very appreciative fans of the Panthers. They like to homer a little bit. No problem. We do the same thing with the Packers. But we never, ever, you'll never, folks, hear Jay or I go out of our way, social media, phone call, text message, and call someone out like that over a referee call. We won't do it. That's silly. That's come on. Like, that's why I told him, eat some humble pie. That's why I told Tony, have Greg eat some humble pie a little bit. Like that, have him realize what was going on. I get it. They're a little bit of a rompus room on their podcast when they get callers in and they start homering each other with the Panther stuff. But come on, you got to take a step back and look at this. Like, we're Packers fans, but this show's NFL. So, and that's what I told him is if I see Jay doing that, I would expect me to get him for it. If Jay sees me doing it,
a couple of months ago, I got all kinds of yelled at because I used the poop emoji, not really realizing it, and I got yelled at by not only you but Mr. Baxter. And look, I was wrong, but it wasn't because I was trying to be a jackass.
It's not that.
I'm just saying it's an example of like. I got messaged immediately over something similar that was considered to be kind of jackassery. It wasn't my intent, but that's how it comes across.
It's how it's perceived.
And I was put in my place by not just you, but by a guy that's been in this business for 35, 40 years, like was all up in my DMs. And he was right. Like, it was just
but that's the thing. If I did that, I'd expect you to get after me for it because we're professionals. And that's what I don't like about how they acted on that whole situation. And I'm going to say it right now, I feel like there needs to be more accountability on that podcast.
Well,
that's just me.
And like I told you, look, we got love for those guys. It ain't that we got hate or there's vitriol. And I got love for Dave. But like I told Dave when he called me, and he was all like, Dave, I understand how you are, and I understand where you're coming from. I get it. You're not wrong. But like, we can't be the social media police, and we can't tell people what to do.
It's not the police. It's just the fact if you're going to operate as our guest, show some respect.
I know. And I get where you're coming from, but I guess that's where we balance each other out, Dave. That's why we're yin and yang. Because, well, that completely, like, I understand where you're coming from, but I probably wouldn't even have much responded to him. The reason why I finally responded is because he ended up with a timeline or a thread that had a bunch of fans that were just getting overly ridiculous. And so I just felt the need to just put them all in their place, like kind of like it was almost a similar shortened version of what I said at the beginning about the referees. So it's how I really feel. And I was not, and I made sure, again, that I put the Packers fans in there because they're not innocent in this type of crap out there in social media.
Oh, they do it all the time.
I've seen it plenty, and it's sickening and ridiculous. And so I did not want to exclude that fan base. I was talking to all 32 fan bases out there that happen to have that viewpoint or use that as their reasoning and going at people that disagree with them or are only trying to tell you what the actual rule is and why it wasn't maybe the most terrible call in the world or why it didn't cost you the game or why – yeah, it sucks, but you're not the only ones or wasn't the one. Just like Dave said, I don't know how you can be a golden boy and it be one-sided and it cost you the game when you had half the penalties the other team did.
Also, if there's a call anybody wants to call anybody out, all I got to do is say the Fail Mary game. That trumps anything.
Oh, yeah, that was another one that the Packers had.
Packers was used as a scapegoat to get the regular referees back. Literally sacrificed, and that game cost us, which would have been a W in any other referee crew for the Packers. We would have had a bye, a second seed bye going into the playoffs, and the Bears would have made it
And not the
in the
Seahawks.
playoffs.
And Lovey
Yep.
Smith got fired that year too, by the way, and he finished 10-6.
On a 10-6 record.
Yes. So again, that's
Yep.
what I'm saying here, and that's where I'm coming from. And I forgot about
Oh.
the Fail Mary one. I always go back to the 09 one, but the Fail Mary one was is just as bad.
We never
'cause
would have
it
paid
is-
San Fran.
So literally fan bases out there. You guys might have one in your history, and you might not even been alive for it, or you're trying to. But we literally in the last 10 years have two of the exact final play of the game that were blown that cost us the victory. Okay, so and I was a freaking home run fanboy fan back then, man. Trust me, trust me. And I didn't even have Twitter back then. It was 09. Twitter was just new, but I wasn't on it until 2013. I refused. But I was pissed. I got in many arguments at work with the other guys of Lions fans and all that over that type of stuff. But I've evolved and grown. I've been taught by many of great people out there. So, yeah, it is what it is now, and I'm not going to change my stance on it, period. What are some other good games you saw? What are some good matchups you're looking forward to this week?
Ooh, this week. You know what? There's one there's a high-powered offensive matchup. Baltimore versus Houston. That is going to be a hell of a game. It's going to come down to the last drive. Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson's playing really good ball right now.
I was about to ask, who's the better quarterback right now today?
Better player or better quarterback?
See, this is the problem. We can do better player for any other position. Quarterback's different. Because I know you can say
quarterback is Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. Better quarterback? It's Deshaun Watson.
Once Lamar runs across that line of scrimmage, he's declared a runner, which makes him a QB running back hybrid. I have no problem with his play because he does it well. But the better quarterback, Deshaun Watson.
That's an interesting answer. I don't mind it.
Pocket presence for Watson. He's able to take pressure in the face and still. He got kicked in the damn eye and still threw a touchdown pass. Like how much more do you got to show that you can play? I mean, Andy's playing, folks.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just said it's with all the hype around Lamar. It's an interesting answer.
I'm explaining it for our listeners. I have to say this.
I'm just jumping up. I'm not jumping on your ass. I'm just being facetious because that's what I can do.
I hope not. It's pretty high up. But no, Deshaun Watson. He's doing this helping carry a 32nd ranked defense for Houston, folks. Absolutely atrocious. Taking some hits. Clowney left for the trade. Watt out for the year. And then, they end up getting Gary Conley. He's fitting a lot better than people expected. But you're not seeing these guys that usually stepped up on the Houston defense. Whitney Merciless is okay. He's not a premier pass rusher, but he's a top 20. I'll give him that. But there's one stat I want people to focus on that I think can help maybe the Houston defense not be on the field for so many minutes. Carlos Hyde has 704 rushing yards, folks.
Wow. I didn't think
he is going to be a 1,000-yard back the way he's going. Like, that's amazing to me. People wrote him off. He was on what preseason team was he a part of? Wasn't he the Chiefs?
He was with the Chiefs, and he got traded, I think, for a 5th-round pick, like right before Week 4 preseason, or right after the Week 4 preseason game. And he was kind of pissed because he signed a deal in the offseason to go to the Chiefs.
Let's be real. ACL.
Honest to God, the Chiefs could use Carlos Hyde this year. Like, that was a stupid move on their part because LaShawn McCoy is not the type of back they needed.
Not even
they
McCoy.
Already had two backs that were exactly like McCoy, but younger.
Not even McCoy. You still had both Williams guys.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They are McCoy. Yeah. Like, you could have used Carlos Hyde as your hammer, and then those other two guys are great complementary pieces. It was just an asinine move. Yeah, look, you know what? Because my game is actually the Eagles. I'm interested. I'm interested in the Eagles Patriots game because it's a Super
Eagles
Bowl
are in a do or
rematch.